fairly
Thank
familiar.
you.
I'm probably...
I appreciate it. No, I do appreciate you talking about the role that fintech firms, financial technology firms had played in distributing funds to our small businesses during PPP. So many of us were involved with the Paycheck Protection Program during COVID-19. I think large in part it was a great success for our small businesses. But of course, we did run into issues when it came to fraud. And so I'm glad that you have had the opportunity to do investigative work in these areas. We did have unprecedented levels of fraud within the program, which I hate that we have to report that, but that's the way it is. And we need to make sure that there are appropriate guardrails. I think it was close to an estimated amount of $100 billion of fraud, and so that does have to be corrected. It is very important that we make sure our underserved communities have equal access to SBA lending programs, but as we're looking at this, we also have to make sure that our taxpayer dollars are being adequately protected from fraud and waste caused by a lack of oversight. So I appreciate you outlining for Chairman Cardin some of those changes that you would like to see, and certainly would love to work with you on the future just so that we can strengthen some of those anti-fraud protections. So just wanted to start off with that. But then, Ms. Murphy, I'd like to go to questions with you, and I really appreciate you talking about our veterans community as well. There are a number of underserved communities, especially as we look at some of the SBA lending programs. I'll start with a priority that I've been working on, and then we'll move into more of the veterans and some of those underserved communities. But one of the longstanding priorities that I have had is to expand access to childcare for small businesses, especially those that are in the rural and underserved areas that have little or no access to quality child care services. And because of the inability to access child care, it has created these economic barriers for so many people out there, these families that want to return to work, maybe do what they were doing pre-pandemic, but some of their childcare is gone. So earlier this year, I introduced the Childcare Deserts Act, and that would allow for small businesses to use SBA loans to provide childcare services to employees. And I'm also a co-sponsor of the Childcare Small Business Investment Act, which would allow for nonprofit childcare providers to access those SBA 7A loans. And I'm glad you talked about those 7As. Really appreciate that. How could the SBA provide further assistance to eligible SBA lenders to help provide small businesses with access to quality childcare in rural or those underserved communities?
Thank you, Senator Ernst. It's a great question. So the bill would actually need to pass in Congress because the way the SBA program is structured right now, it isn't eligible for nonprofits. So we would need that to pass, but we would absolutely look forward to sitting down with you and putting something together and see what we can do, because it's so important, especially for our working families, to have reasonable childcare.
And it is important because in many of our rural areas, there are a lot of churches and other nonprofits that really want to expand availability, but they just lack that access to loans and other types of programs. So I'd love to work with you on that. So I'd like to dive in as well to assisting our veterans. Of course, I have a daughter who's active duty serving right now. I'm a veteran. We have lots of veterans that live in our communities and are engaging in small business activities. What more can we do? I know checking the box is great, but what more can we do to get veterans engaged through SBA loan programs?
A lot of it is the continued outreach. SBA is doing that, and we've been working with many of the veteran business outreach centers to get in front of veterans and talk to them about, from a lender perspective, of what exactly we need to put together and how we can best serve what they're looking to do as an entrepreneur.
Very good. And my time has expired, so I'll yield back, but thank you very much. Thank you, Ranking Member.
Thank you. Senator Rono?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My focus is